Hello and welcome back to Will's World Reviews and More. This is going to be my first WWE Network pay-per-view review. I'm kind of working my way through some certain ones, and the first one I decided to watch was the Royal Rumble from the year 2000. Now the reason I started at the 2000 mark was because that was the year I got into wrestling and first started watching it, and I think I didn't really get into it until after Austin returned, which was in April of that year. So I'm kind of starting in 2000, but also kind of catching the ones that I missed. And of course, I will review and watch ones from before and current ones as I watch them. But chronologically, I'm going to start from 2000, work my way up. But at the same time, obviously, I'm going to watch different things. But in terms of reviews, I'll be doing these, and then if any stand out from, well, obviously, I will definitely do a review of the Royal Rumble 2015. But this is where I'm starting my series, because that's my era, if you know what I mean. So yeah, Royal Rumble 2000. Obviously, it was a bit of a strange situation with the company at the time, New Millennium. Austin was out with getting surgery on his neck that was injured by Owen Hart about 3 years earlier. So this was the time when Triple H really became the face of the company, because I think Undertaker was out as well. Obviously, we had The Rock as well. He was coming to limelight, but I think this was the emergence, and this was when obviously WWE was starting to win the ratings war on a regular basis, and really it was the imminent end of WCW and ECW. So, which we're going to get talking about straight away, because obviously the first match was Taz debuting in WWE. Obviously, massively famous in ECW. So WWE capturing his signature really kind of illustrated just how dominant they were at the time. I know, looking back on this now, a lot of fans are disappointed that he was the one to deliver Kurt Angle's first official loss in the company. Even though, obviously, including in the program, it was, is it a loss because he was illegally choked out? Because I think, Taz had a really disappointing WWE career. Didn't really wrestle that much, had a lot of injuries, and then in the end, obviously, he became a commentator for a long time and was quite a good one. And obviously, he's continued that on in TNA. So all credit to him. Kurt Angle was a big part of the era that I watched in wrestling, and he was just one of those characters that he really loved to hate. And I think that was evident watching it again now. Is just how good on the mic he was. Never mind in the ring. You don't really notice those things as a kid, but because I was only 10 in the year 2000, so but you really notice how good he was in all areas. So that was the first match. Short match, only 3 minutes and 18 seconds, but a good match nonetheless. The next match kind of really summed up how the WWE was going to go for the next couple of years, and that was the Elimination Tables match between the Hardy Boys and the Dudleys. And obviously these two, along with Ed and Christian, were the groups, or the tag teams that really made WWE popular in terms of tables, ladders and chairs. I think this is one of the first ones, or it was definitely the first tables match, elimination tables match. And watching that, it just really showed how all four men would put their bodies on the line for the company, and you had to appreciate that. Obviously, all four of them they had a good career in WWE and TNA as well. So again, those four were never any of my favourite wrestlers, but looking back now, I can always appreciate what they did. The next match was interesting. Chris Jericho and Chyna versus Hardcore Holly. I'm a big Chyna fan. I really like her. She was one of the, I think she really, even though obviously she left a year later from the Rumble. I seem to remember her a lot, even though she may not have been on TV that much. So for some reason, she was quite when I always look back, I always remember her. Same with Chris Jericho. This is the Chris Jericho that I like and remember, not the new one. I like him with his cockiness and his long blonde hair and longer tights, And Hardcore Holly, I remember him when he had his "How Do You Like Me Now" theme later on. But a really entertaining match, and I think it really that match illustrated again how much of a good worker Chyna was, and disappointing that she had to leave the company because of Triple H is definitely that supposed affair and the overlap of that, and obviously due to her extracurricular activities since then, which we won't mention. She works in adult films, and she's had lots of drug problems, and obviously the whole tension between Triple H and Stephanie, who are now obviously have a main role on air and off air in WWE. She's probably never likely to rejoin the WWE or even have a figure, a new figure made for the collectors like me out there, or even likely to be kind of inducted to the Hall of Fame. So it's quite sad, really, because I think she was, quite a pioneering diva, and obviously made a lot of the way for a lot of people. So can't really complain. The next match was New Age Outlaws defeated the Acolytes. Now again, these were two tag teams that were quite apparent when I was watching wrestling the first time round. Obviously New Age Outlaws made a return recently to WWE. They're not wrestling too much, they're kind of like legends / producers, I think so. But I was always a big fan of the APA, but they were known the Acolytes in this particular event. It was just before they formed the APA, I think. They were excited that they're actually getting APA figures, elite figures, being released sometime this year. So, oh yeah, by the way, the Hardy Boys match was won by the Hardy Boys. Chris Jericho defeated Chyna and Hardcore Holly to settle that kind of undisputed who was the actual champion, because they were joint champions, which now WWE doesn't even recognise for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but so Chris Jericho won that, and in this match New Age Outlaws defeated the APA after X-Pac interfered. So it was kind of like just as DX was beginning to fade out, I think, and obviously, like I said, the Acolytes became APA not long after that, so it's quite a significant match for both tag teams, really, I think. Next you had the kind of the main event other than the Rumble, and that was Triple H versus Cactus Jack. A very entertaining match, I have to say. I don't remember too much of Mick Foley growing up. I think this was one of his last matches as a wrestler. I think well, not one of his last ones, but he was getting close to the end at this point, and that's what I can remember. Triple H, obviously, a massive star, and I loved that theme, My Time. That's what was on with this, and it was a really good theme. And I think that what this match really did is, whatever you want to say about Triple H, whether he played backroom politics, whether he purposely married the boss's daughter to get ahead, whether he's generally just an arsehole, you don't like him for whatever he's done, his in-ring ability, his wrestling capabilities, his ability to sell, his ability on his work on the mic is top class, and you can't take that away from him. No matter what, he is a good wrestler, and you have to appreciate what he did in that match. Both men put their bodies on the line in that match, and that has to be appreciated. A really good match. I enjoyed that a lot. Pardon me, and Triple H obviously eventually won, but Cactus Jack got the last laugh, as he brought Triple H back out from the stretcher, didn't he? Yeah. So that was interesting. Like I said, yeah, it really drove home the effect Triple H kind of had on the business, and would have from that point on, really. And then, of course, you've got the main event, the Royal Rumble. We might as well get the ending out of the way soon. Ending out of the way. The Rock won, and it was like kind of his ascension, you have to say, after eliminating the Big Show, which was quite fun. Again, the Big Show got the last laugh by slamming the Rock, coming back into the ring and slamming him. But generally, it was a really good Royal Rumble. The only things that I could criticise, one is the actual program seemed to have been edited in several occasions. Like there were certain occasions, I think in the Jericho Chyna match, Chyna was about to low blow Jericho, I believe, and they edited it really quickly. And there's a couple of points like that. And I'm not sure whether that's to do with the rating, whether they had to cut certain things down to give it a lower rating. Maybe that's why it was edited, or it could have been like a quality issue. Maybe there was, because obviously it's really good quality on the network. You'll notice that even though it's quite old, the quality of the actual picture and screen is really top drawer. So maybe they had to edit little bits because it wasn't quite up to standard, or they couldn't polish it anymore. So, but maybe you guys know why that is. If you've watched this particular Rumble, whether you noticed it. It may have even been my internet lagging, I don't know. I don't think it was. It looked like it was edited, so maybe you guys can kind of tell me a bit more about that. But the other thing that disappointed me was kind of like having Jericho, having China enter the Rumble after being in matches earlier on. I think that kind of drove home at the time the lack of big name stars that were either available or in the company at the time, or they just kind of the injury, like I said, the injury list, or they just didn't have them. But to have them in again, like have their own match, and then Billy Gunn was another one, Road Dogg and the Acolytes as well. They all appeared despite their matches earlier on the card. And obviously, as I watch other kind of Royal Rumbles, I'll obviously see if that's a pattern that carried on or it was rare. But that was something that I can't remember too much from watching later Royal Rumbles, is that I would have people on the actual undercard and the main event kind of appearing at the same time. But yeah, it was good to see certain people in there. Christian, looking a very young Christian. Same with Edge. British Bulldog in one of his last performances for WWE, I think. So it was good to see them kind of performing, and obviously some kind of other characters in there. It was good to see Kane have a bit of a dominant display, and yeah, it was generally quite a good Rumble. I think everyone knew The Rock was going to win, and that was it really. So yeah, a good pay-per-view. Obviously, the one thing I did miss out was the bikini contest, the Divas that Jerry the King Lawler was presenting and was judged by various people, including Andy Richter, which eventually was won by was it Mae Young who won? I get Mae Young and the Fabulous Moolah confused. Like for a long time, I thought they were the same person because I couldn't kind of work out the difference. But anyway, yeah. So like, there was also what was. Here we go. Yeah, I found it now. Yeah, the swimsuit contest. That's what it was. She had Ivory, who I remember, but I remember her as more of part of Right to Censor. Terry, remember her. Jacqueline, remember her. Barbara Bush, don't remember her. She was someone I don't remember. Luna, don't remember her either. But the cat I remember very well, as I think most boys did at that age. And then obviously Mae Young was the winner, not Fabulous Moolah. She was the judge. But yeah, so that was interesting. And again, that was something that WWE was doing a lot of at the time and continued on for a while. But yeah, so like I say, guys, all in all, a really good pay-per-view, and I was pleased to start that off as my kind of foray into the WWE Network and recapturing where I began my love for wrestling, and hopefully it continues, and I'll kind of review as I'm going along. I say I'll definitely do the 2015 Rumble, which is not too long to wait for now, guys, so can't wait for that. I'll definitely be doing a review. If any of you guys have watched this on the network or remember it, let's post your thoughts below and see what you think, and also give me your thoughts on the network, see what you think. But keep liking, commenting, subscribing, guys. Really appreciate all that, and yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.